Alright, today we're going to do another product review here. I want to go over really quick hair stacker. This is Kelly's swinger stacker. It used to be Jay Nicosia, I believe. He was the one that came out with it, and then I think Kelly bought the company. I think that's what I saw in his video. But now it has the slide-ins logo and everything on there, so wanted to do a quick review on this one, go through a couple of things that I like on this as opposed to the Renzetti. There's the black dog. I'm sure she'll weigh in eventually as well on what she thinks of everything. But the Renzetti, this is the one that I've tied on. If you've seen any of the videos working with deer hair, probably in the last 2 years or so, this has been it. But I've been tying with this Renzetti, or stacking deer hair with this Renzetti for 5 years or better. Still a phenomenal hair stacker. Things have just changed a little bit, and it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit better with consistency on this one. I'll explain why as I go through a quick demonstration on this. But this is hair stacker for mainly overwings on caddis and stuff like that. Maybe if you're doing some stimmies or whatever it may be, calf hair for calf body hair for some of your upright and divided wolves and things of that nature. They also have these in the smaller version. I haven't quite ordered that just yet. I haven't been doing enough of the stuff in bulk, or the production tying in the caddis realm or any of that stuff to go buy one of these yet, but it's on the list of things to get to. I'm going to set this one off to the side because mainly we're just going to be focusing on the big collars that we use for the dungeons, the cougars, white girls, D&Ds, SIDS, you name it. That's what we'll be focusing on for this video. So we're going to mainly work with the mega or the bigger hair stackers. I have some junk deer hair here that I'm not really too upset that I'm using this for just a demonstration and then throwing it in the trash. This is my third time shooting this. I just haven't quite got it right yet, so there's a pile of yellow deer hair in there that I don't feel bad at all about wasting. But moving on from that, what I want to talk about on this is there's really 3 things about this that I really like as opposed to your standard hair stacker. Hair stackers have been the same forever. Some of the materials have changed that they've used, different sizes and everything. This is the first one that is a one-piece hair stacker. What I like about this, it's one-handed. If you feel the need, it's one-handed operation. If you can use it that way, that's one of the things that's really nice about it. You're able to pick your hair out. The second thing that I really like is you're able to see that all of your hair is stacked. It's nice and even. It has this open window. You just slide this off to the side, pick this out, and you're good to go. The third thing is you can see, let me zoom in a little bit on this one, and you can see how much hair is going to be sticking out that you're going to be able to grab with one hand. And I'll explain that a little bit more as I go through on the demonstration. With this one, it still works, trust me. It's still going to get the job done. This just makes your life easier. It makes your flies a little more consistent, and you're able to control your materials a lot better with this swinger stacker. The 2-piece one, how this works: machined outside piece, machined inside piece. This one sits in. There's a recessed version to where there's a recessed portion to where this sets in, and then it leaves a portion probably about a 1/2 of an inch. You'll see it when I stack this. It leaves about a 1/2 of an inch to where when you take this apart, it's right there. And you can't really grab it with one hand. You have to push it through with your finger here. This just eliminates that, and it makes it that much easier, that much quicker, more efficient. Another thing that can happen with these is you get the static buildup from constantly moving these constantly throwing the fuzzy hair and everything in there. And sometimes when you pull this apart, you'll have some come out, and it'll just be uneven. You may have to throw the whole stack away. You may have to restack it. Whatever it is, it takes up time and it moves you away from accomplishing what you want to, is to churn out as many flies as possible while you have time at the bench. Saying all of that, you can eliminate that static buildup. All you gotta do is take a dryer sheet, run it through there, run it through both portions, you're good to go. Probably another couple hundred flies, whatever it may be. But without going any further into the details on this one, without doing any demonstration, we'll go ahead and clip some deer hair. And this is going to be on the bulky side of things, which is how you want your collars, in all honesty. I mean, you don't want to be working with a little skimpy collar and you go tying a beautiful fly and then you just have just a couple strands of deer hair for pectoral fins. It just looks bad, and it honestly takes away from the way the fly was designed to hunt. When Kelly designed the Dungeon or the Cougar, those pectoral fins, the Cougar especially because it's weightless, those pectoral fins kind of acted as a prop going through, or a stabilizer going through the water. So you had these nice broad pectoral fins and then the rest of the fly behind it, and it just kind of, along with the mallard flank, just kind of gave that wobble to the fly throughout it. And that was the whole design of it. And if you go with a very skimpy or sparse section of deer hair for your collar, you're going to lose that effect on the fly, and it's not going to track in the water how it was designed. So, oh boy, this stuff's absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Look at that first pull. That's all the junk that came out. Ugh, I don't even know if I can do a good demonstration with this, quite honestly. I'll try and find the best that I can. But there's a good chance that once I'm done tying with this one, or once I'm done with this video, that this deer hair is going straight to the trash. Okay. So I'm going to try and get as close as possible on these two with the same amount of deer hair. Just give a quick pull on that. There we go. That's all the junk that came out of it. That just not ideal to work with. You can still make a good collar, you can still spin it, but you'll see as I'll probably struggle through this, it's not going to be as smooth as it could be. That's half the battle, and it doesn't matter what you're tying really. If you're doing streamers, dries, nymphs, terrestrials, whatever, having good material to work with really goes a long way into the consistency of your flies and the lack of frustration for that matter. Take your time when you're going through the shop, select good material, which I didn't do here for some reason. Must have had an off day. Happens, I guess. Maybe it was all they had and I was in dire needs. But okay, so we'll get this one cleaned up, pop this in the Renzetti. And hopefully get that in there. And you can see, I mean, we're taking a decent amount of deer hair for each of these that we're stacking. And I got deer hair all over me, so. Alright, we'll get this out of the way. Actually, it's just right to the trash. That's where that's going. So, we'll start out on the Renzetti on this one. We'll walk through this and then we'll go over to Kelly Swinger Stacker and show you the difference between the two and the results that you get. I'm going to zoom in slightly so you guys can see this a little better. I know you won't see the stacking process, but I'll make sure that I hold this up when I'm doing it. Still working on the 2-camera angle here, but we got a ways to go for some equipment upgrades and everything, but bear with us until then. So we're just going to do a quick stack on this, and you can see how these tips are all nice and even, but remember what I was saying, where you only have about that ½ inch of hair to grab. If you go trying to grab all of this stuff and pull it out and then transfer it over, you have all of these loose fibers in the back. As soon as you go to transfer this over, look what happens to your collar. one, you're going to lose a good portion of it, and two, you can't work with that and have a nice clean collar on that whatsoever. So you're not going to be able to work with that and have consistency in your flies. So what you need to do instead on these Renzettis, or any of these two-part stackers that you use, not necessarily has to be a Renzetti, but push this forward with your finger and on your right hand, and then you grab it with your left. And after doing this for a while, I mean, you'll be able to get your tips nice and even. But sometimes what can happen, there you can see we got everything somewhat nice and even. You can tell, oh, I was out of frame there, but you can tell where I pushed with my finger, and it's a little bit longer on this top than it is the bottom, and it's just not quite as even as what you would like. You don't have the consistency that you're after, and when you go transferring this from hand to hand, there's a chance that that's going to get even more exaggerated. What we'll do now is we'll move on to, and I'll zoom out just slightly, we'll move on to the swinger stacker, and I'll talk about the process on this one and how it makes things a little bit easier and a little bit more consistent. Zoom back out a little bit. You got half my face in it, half of it out. So what we're going to do is just a couple of quick taps on the bottom. I'm able to look in there and see that my hair is all nice and even. Everything's clean, everything's good to go. And look at how much more you're going to be able to have to grab. We'll do that one compared to this Renzetti. Here's what you have to grab with that compared to this. It's just so much more. You don't have to, it's one less step to potentially cause a tough time working with this deer hair. So you open this up, and there it is. You got everything right there. You're able to get a good secure grip on this. All of these loose hairs in the back, that's all you get. Just a couple of ones that probably weren't going to make the cut anyhow. Transfer this over to your right hand. You're able to get a nice firm grasp on that, and look how clean that stack is. Everything's nice and even. There's onesies and twosies here and there, but overall you have a nice clean break on this. Everything is nice and even. It's going to make a beautiful pectoral fin for your Dungeons, Cougars, whatever it may be, whichever fly you're on. Alright, get that cleaned up and out of the way and get zoomed back out. But that's basically what I wanted to go through. I just wanted to review this stacker. It has made a huge difference in the deer hair work that I've been doing lately. I mean, you watch any of the production stuff, take a look out on the bench over there. I mean, some of the stuff that we have ready to go, I've been doing a ton of deer hair work lately, and it has made a huge difference. It makes things a lot quicker, and for consistency purposes, this is the way to go. If you're doing, trust me, I've tied stacked hair with this for years, and it's gonna do what you want it to do. But if you're just looking out and trying to figure out which one you're going to buy, which one you want, I would go with this one personally. Get used to it, and it's just, I keep harping on the consistency thing, because that's what it is. I mean, in tying, consistency is everything. This just helps out so much more, and it's easier to control your material than it is with this. Having the two-piece, this just simplifies things and makes it a lot easier. I think I've repeated myself enough on that, so I'm going to shut this one down. But if you guys have any further questions or comments on this one, leave them with me and I'll get back to you. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next fly.